It's another, thank God it's Friday, the 14th of April, 2023. Time for most of you hard-working, laboring people for the effortlessly created money to enjoy your weekend. Well, I'll celebrate it with you. Now, in case you missed yesterday's podcast, you early risers rolling out like me, getting stuff done, it's up and posted for your listening, enjoyment, and edification. People, from yesterday's story, we need to become as feral pigs, once domesticated but escaped, free again, and most importantly, avoiding the farmer's dinner table. How many times here have I told you that, the masters of plantation see us as a domesticated herd? Yep, cattle. Murray has a special word for it, what he calls us. And tragically, people, he's right, we sure act like it. And we are being culled. C-U-L-L-E-D. Population reduction. And for after all, isn't it just good business to cull the herd of the non-productive, the useless eaters, who consume yet produce nothing? Oh, say like infants and old people. Now they have to push the post-abortion agenda and get Ma in the home, the old folks' home, lock her down, give her the pokey poke. Oh, son of a bitch, she died mysteriously? The doctors are baffled. Okay, moving on. Bud Light brand influencer Dylan Mulvaney, a member of the Liquor Guns Beer Tits movement, by the way, a group that doesn't reproduce, doesn't burden the planet with excess population, useless eaters, doesn't increase it one bit, has got an offer from Nike. Yep, sports bras. I gotta get one of them. Now what's next for old Dylan? Maybe an offer to, brand influence tampons? The feeling of freshness for that time of the month? Well, he'd be a good spokesman. Time will tell. And it wouldn't surprise me one bit. How about you? And how's the boycott coming after all? According to Fox News, AB InBev has already seen a decline in sales to the tune of $5 billion. That's billion with a B. Decline in sales, I love it. So keep it up, people. In spite of a few friends and relatives that might think this boycott is ridiculous, there is, after all, life after Budweiser. I found that out. Some people don't get it. Now, we have a five-head, no names people, at the bottom Peter Pit who doesn't get it. Says we should just get used to it. These kind of people been with us for years. For after all, the beer didn't change. Oh, and by the way, what's a five-head? It's a person whose receding hairline is so advanced it becomes too big to be called a forehead any longer. And I said no names, but you'll recognize him when you see him, and you'll hear him when he roars, and he's got something to say always. So I'll be leaving a link to Tucker Carlson's show last night, or it's about a 10.5-minute segment of it. Seems, and some claim Tucker is controlled opposition. I don't doubt it for a second, but as long as he says the truth, lets it slip out, who cares? Why care? And what was Tucker's message last night? American soldiers are actively engaged, yes, fighting, the goddamn Russians in the Ukraine. And again, people, not bragging, too humble for that. But I told you guys quite a while ago, U.S. troops would be fighting in the Ukraine if they weren't fighting at the time I told you way back when. People, keep your kids out of today's armed forces. Keep them out of the military. Nothing good will come from it. I'm just saying, just helping you out. Oh, and in Tucker's link, if you decide to watch it, pay attention to Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. You want to see the face of weather control, weather modification? Look at that son of a bitch. Yep, former director of our good friends at Raytheon. Just something to think about. And again, from yesterday's podcast, if you don't know how the farmer built the trap, it's going to make escape more difficult and make it harder to avoid in the future. That's if we ever break free. We got to learn to live like freedom in the Little House on the Prairies days. And an interesting side note, perhaps one upside of an all-out nuclear war, and it's getting closer to happening by the day. Perhaps one positive is after a nuclear war, we will find ourselves living like they did in Little House on the Prairie. Are you guys ready? Are you prepared? Are you spending them shekels on stuff you need and use, or are you watching your bank account amounts build? You decide. So for future reference, so that bad history doesn't repeat, let's consider the timeline of deception, a concept advanced by the good folks at Back to the Covenant channel. Am I stealing their information? No, I gave them credit for it. Am I using it? Yes, it's public use. Okay, here we go. Just a brief timeline. Starting in 1945, we had Operation Paperclip. NASA, never a straight answer. Not a space administration. Brings over 1,600 Nazi rocket scientists, including Wernher von Braun. I don't know why they say NASA here, because they weren't even funded or created yet. It was the OSI. Okay, so correct that one, you deceiving us in your timeline. In 46 to 47, Operation High Jump, Admiral Byrd leads an expedition to the Antarctica, and it's a mission that was cut short, and it's a mission where he took heavy casualties. Did he discover flying saucers, advanced Nazi technology at Base 211, the Nazi base, New Schwabenland? Do some research, people. Do your own homework. Pay particular attention to the next one. In the 1950s, we had Operation Mockingbird. CIA infiltrating major news organizations to push fake, false news. In 55 to 56, hey, I was born in that time frame. Operation Deep Freeze. Admiral Byrd is added again in Antarctica, possibly discovering something that we're not supposed to know about. He did say in an interview, there's land masses the size of the United States that no man has ever seen. Interesting. Now here we go, 1958. Never a straight answer. Not a space administration was founded. NASA was created in response to the goddamn Russians putting Sputnik, a satellite, in space in 1957. And look into that one. There's a bunch of bullshit. 3 trawlers in the ocean with some cheap Radio Shack gear, and you can reproduce that whole space fake program. 1959, the Antarctic Treaty. Sorry, ladies and gents, no independent exploration here. We're closed. 62, we've talked about this one before. Operation Fishbowl. The United States government shoots high-altitude missiles, nuclear missiles, up into the atmosphere, including a missile named Thor. Yep, Thor's hammer. And here we go, my buddy, my mailman, his favorite year, 1969. Original moon landing. Buzz, Neil, and Michael traveled 238,000 miles, so we're told, and land on a dusty rock. So, there you go. It's a timeline of deception, people. And I'm probably going to leave another link to this podcast. It's just a wee bit of a Senator Church, Frank Church hearings on CIA involvement in Operation Mockingbird. Remember? Operation Mockingbird from the 1950s? We just talked about it. And the CIA director's on the hot seat. Then CIA Director William Colby. Can you tell us, Director, are you guys feeding any news information to the media? Any bullshit? Senator, I think we should go into executive session. Yeah, you know what that means? That means private. Can't let the public know. Just like Tucker said in his show last night. It's for our own good, of course. Director, any CIA employees working for the media? Again, Senator, I think this is an issue we discuss in executive session. Can't have the goddamn public knowing what the hell's going on. Nope, can't have that at all. So, fake news, people, but it's been fake our whole lifetime. Truth in the movies. It's the Truman Show. Welcome to the Matrix. And I got stuff to do.